This is Wilson Morales from Black Film TV talking to director Nicol Paone, who's got her new film, The Keum, which reunites Uma Thurman, Sam Jackson, along with some other actors in the film. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Obviously, the sell and the pitch that everybody found out is Uma and Sam in a film again after we saw them together, for the first time in years, at least publicly at the Oscars. How did this film come about?
So I got a call from an old producing partner after I made my first movie, and he said, "I have a script for you. I think you'll love." And
Mhm.
he was right. And when I read the script, it was all there. I loved it. I loved how clever it was, and I said yes. And then took about 2 years to develop the script out a little bit more. And then I bothered Uma Thurman's manager, not knowing she was Uma Thurman's manager. She was just a friend of mine, and I bothered her for about a year to read the script. And she read it, and she said, "This is Uma Thurman." And and she said, "Can I give it to her?" And I said, "Absolutely. Absolutely." And then 3 weeks later I was having lunch with Uma. It was wild.
Okay, there's Uma. Then there's Sam. Sam's we see Sam all the time in a lot of projects. So I can only assume it's not easy for him to say yes to anything.
Right. I mean, the man is so incredible and so uniquely Sam. Um, I'm sure he gets thrown a lot of scripts, and uh, the role of Gordon was initially a 72-year-old Jewish man,
Mhm.
and which was where the Bialys came from, and then Uma asked me if would Sam be an option for Gordon, for Herschel was his name, and I was like, are you kidding me? Of course, of course, Sam is an option. And
Mhm.
so I had a day knowing it needed to go to Sam before the Christmas break, and I took a day with the writer, and we came up with the black dreidel. And I think that's even better than just your typical 72-year-old Jewish man.
Mhm.
And we came up with the black dreidel, and he still made bialys because he grew up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, with a bunch of Jewish people, and that's how he survived. And I think Sam just played it brilliantly, which is not a surprise.
I say to myself, I go, she's got Uma, she's got Sam in her head or in her team's head, or they says, can we afford him? Or is he just saying yes? Like you're tailoring the script to him. It was like, can we afford him? Or was that
Yeah.
is that a thought process that comes in afterwards? It's like going to college. I'll worry about the money later.
Yeah, I let the lawyers figure all that out, but I kept asking, like, "Hey, do we have him? Like, is it official? Like, did he sign?" And they were like, "No, it's good. Don't worry." And I was like, "Oh, I hate that. It's good. Don't worry. Like, you're not telling me something." And so, like, for like that went on for 2 months, them going back and forth and stuff like that. But it all worked out.
What's it like directing a dramedy? Because there's moments of here of laughter, and obviously there's some serious tones in here, and it's not always easy to balance those two.
Yeah. Well, you really have to really, it starts with the script, right? The balance there. And then when you're shooting, you have to get things all kinds of ways. So when you're in the editing room, you're able to build and toe the line of that balance. It's not easy to do, but if you have enough time in the editing room, which we did, that I fought for, then you can play with different things, because there are some lines that were jokes that just I had to cut them because it really cut the tension uh away. Especially in the end, I won't give it away, but in the end, when they're at the Miami Art Fair and they pull off what they pull off, on the script we were cutting back and forth to the audience a little bit more, and it was funnier. But
Mhm.
because of what's happening in that room, it was we just couldn't. I just couldn't pull that off, and so it just didn't work. And so, sometimes on the page you think things are going to work, and then you get up on his feet and you have to change it again, and then in the editing room you get to rewrite things again. And so it's just it's a balance within trying to balance it. It's a balance between all the three phases of filmmaking.
Mhm. You also have other cast members in this movie, Joe, Maya, and obviously it's good to see Umar and Maya working together. That's it's. I'm sure they also have to talk about, is this the project that we're gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
uh, and not a vanity thing. So like there is that, and then just the art world. How much research goes into. You got the script, but how much did you know about the art world prior to, and how much did you learn afterwards?
Yeah, so I'd say I've been immersed in the art world for the last maybe 6 or 7 years. So when the script came to me, I was like, "Oh, wow, amazing!" A very good friend of mine is an art dealer, and or an art advisor dealer, and I just I just went everywhere with her, like wherever she was going. She had uh, her own personal tour of Sotheby's, private. I was like, whatever you're doing, I just want to come with you. And that was before I got the script. And so, maybe I think the universe works in funny ways. I just, but by me doing that and sparking that interest, I think maybe that's why the script came to me, because I listened to Goodfellas on cassette tape growing up in my Italian Catholic New Jersey upbringing, and so that informed the underworld, and then diving into the art world. I would say in about 2015. I'm thankful that I did, uh, because I mean it's such a vast world, right? You can't know everything about every painting, and so or every piece of art, modern and or classic. But I went to Art Basel twice, and I just dove in. And so, yeah. Sorry, someone's at my door.
That's okay. You have Joe, obviously playing the role he has, and he plays it with such a little bit of grace, so that's not so totally dark. So like, how was it getting him to play this role? With all the actors, they're playing a certain part in there, and they have to get immersed in the character that they're playing. So that way, we're not seeing the same type of performance we've seen him in other roles.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the best things the director could do is um choose your cast. Like that's the most one of the most important things. And I wanted Joe from the get-go because he's a trained actor. He classically trained actor. He went to Carnegie Mellon. Like he has um I don't know if I should. Can we
Yeah, you know
pause?
what? And we can pause. Obviously, when they get the tape. Yep. And then you have Joe, who obviously plays the part that he has, and he plays it with a little bit of grace and some funniness in there. And how was it getting him to play it the way you want it, so that way we don't see, and as well as the other actors, so that way we don't see the performances that we normally see them in, and assume that, oh, he's just being Joe. If you remember him from this place or that place, same as Sam and Uma. When you're getting these actors to play him something opposite. Not even though it's acting, but to get them to do something different.
Yeah, so I I believe Joe's agent sent me his reel, and I watched his reel. I've always been a fan of Joe from his True Blood days, and there was something in his reel that I saw that was just beautiful and earnest. And I thought I knew Joe was very popular and had, the magic mics and all that stuff in him, but I thought it'd be really interesting for audiences to see him in this new light. And I think he he did it brilliantly. There were a lot of conversations about the line between, Reggie and his brutality, and then the sweetness of Reggie, because the reason why he is doing this, like he doesn't want to be doing what he's doing. And It's evident in that scene between him and Gordon when he's like, "How long is long enough?" Like, you really feel his pain, and I think Joe and Sam played it so brilliantly. I remember the rehearsal. I like to shoot the rehearsal because, like, if it's gold, it's gold, and we shot it, and I know we used some of that in the movie.
As a director who had obviously done the project before, what part of your skill set has evolved, knowing you working on this project, knowing you working with Joe, Uma, Sam, but just in general? I always say talent can never stop learning. What did you learn from this one after you shot it that says, okay, moving forward, this is what I'll do next?
Mm. I really think it sounds like such a cheesy answer, but trust my instincts. That was so key. There was a scene where I wanted to shoot the scene overhead. It was the three of them when they were like, when they were trying to convince Gordon that, he doesn't want to do it anymore. And I wanted to shoot it overhead. And I remember I received so many reasons for not too much time, and no, it's this and that. And I was like, ah, damn it. I really wanted to do that. And after the scene, Uma walks out with me. She goes, "Would have been really cool if we shot that overhead." And I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
yes." So I think really trusting my instincts and hearing that, Sam Jackson, when he was at the Tonys, he said to a friend of mine that he had a really good time working on the movie, and that he enjoyed it, and his people saying that, he would love to work with me again, and to get Uma's seal of approval on my director's cut, knowing what we had been through. We had a really tight schedule. And to me, I think these actors deserved more. I think they deserved a longer schedule. I think the script deserved a longer schedule, but that was not in the cards. And so I think really trusting my instincts is gonna take me a lot. Like, there's no doubting anymore. The doubt is gone.
When you're shooting Uma and Sam together, was there a point that you say to yourself, I need a scene that's going to sell? I think about when they were promoting Heat and they had that one scene with Pacino and De Niro together at the table. And that's the scene that I'm like, oh, it's got, and then when you say it's Uma and Sam, like, okay, is there going to be a cell clip that we want to see them in? That's like, okay, this is the one that's going to propel the movie. Because as you mentioned, it had to have just been Uma and a 72-year-old Jewish guy that may not be as big as Sam. It'd be okay. It's an Uma Thurman film, but Uma and Sam is a different marketability. You
Yeah,
know.
different stratosphere.
Hmm.
So I don't generally think in those ways when I'm shooting. Like, there's just too much to think about.
Hmm.
But now I think it's that scene on the bench at the end. Like, I think from behind, that's why in the trailer I wanted to use that up top. Like, you know who they are from behind. They're so iconic, and just the shot with from behind them with the Empire State Building in the middle. Like, I want to see that film.
Hmm. I tell everybody, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, obviously Uma and Sam is themselves, but we have a glut of product out there now, whether it's streaming, cable, in theaters, everybody has an option as to what to see. The word channel surfing almost no longer exists because we got a
Yeah,
gazillion channels. It's not like you're just flipping around like, oh, I'm stuck on it. It's like
media
no,
surfing, really. Yeah,
yeah, it's like whatever you turn on, or what are you going to see is based on what somebody's telling you of what you've read. You're not just browsing anymore.
yeah.
What's going to be the selling to see this outside of the names? We always want to hear a good story, but outside of the names, for those who are blind, who just don't know who's who. What's your selling point? Like, oh, here's the kill room coming out.
That's a great question. You may have stumped me a little, but I would say the art world finally gets a send up.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's good enough.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say, "Oh, it's Uma and Sam. It's their first time working." That's big as
Yeah,
as it is.
yeah,
Sometimes
because
that's
they
all
didn't
you need.
have a scene together in Pulp Fiction. Like, this is them, really going toe to toe, and so um, I don't know, fun, like a fun crime caper where the art world, gets an appropriate send up and
Mhm.
has some levity to it. They're a little stuck up in the art world, and so they need to be knocked down a peg. And I think this movie does it.
Mhm. And then for you, obviously, once it's done, you know, what sort of films or genre do you want to tackle?
Mm. I like the multi-genre movies. I don't like just like I don't think I'll ever just do like a straight up drama. I think my films will always have a little bit of comedy interwoven. I think I want to do like a sci-fi comedy, an action comedy, a sports comedy. Like I just kind of want to tackle all the genres, but add comedy on the end.
Yeah, something that sticks out where like they kind of get an idea as to what you can do, or the range of what you can do. You know.
Exactly. I like range. I don't want it. I don't want it to be just like it's she does one thing and that's what she does. Like, because I want to challenge myself too as a filmmaker.
You know. But I think with this one, I think you'll get an audience to watch it, and then obviously we'll be looking forward to what you do next. I'm sure people may go back to what you previously done because that's what I did. I was like, okay, what did she previously done?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
say like, okay, let's see the evolution here. It's like now
right.
she's got bigger names, and it's like okay, and it's got to obviously get more promoted, which is why we're talking. So best of luck, congrats on this movie. Let's see where else we go, and let's make a success out of this movie.
Thanks,
Take care.
man. Appreciate you.